Hey everybody, it's Louisa here. If you're new, welcome to my channel, and if you've been here before, then welcome back. I posted a video about 3 weeks ago updating you all on where I've been because it's like my first video back in over a year. I have had a bit of a rough time, and I'm sad to say things got a bit worse after I filmed that last video. You might recognise I'm still in my room and I've got lots of exciting updates for you. So I wanted to make a bit of a reflection video. It's now April 2025 and I filmed that last video back in October 2024 when I failed my resit for my 4th year exam. So this video is going to be an update, bit of a reflection, and without further ado, let's get on with the video. Thank you all for sticking with me over the year and a bit that I was gone. The support's been amazing, and the last video I shared was quite a hard video to post. I was obviously very upset when I failed my resit. It wasn't what I was well, I can't decide if I was expecting it or not, but I wasn't in a good place when I was sitting that exam. And I think my mental view of the exam, my fear of failing again, actually hindered me when I went to sit the exam. So I went into it really stressed, didn't know what the consequence was going to be if I did fail again. Obviously I then failed by a very small margin. It was about 3 marks. They also put the pass mark up for the resit. It was rough, it was pretty rough. I met with my director of studies and he said that day that I would have to intermit. And for those that don't know, intermitting at Cambridge is basically where you take time away from your studies. Most of the time students do that almost voluntarily, where they'll be aware that they're struggling. Usually in undergrad, students who intermit basically take an entire break from the course. They leave Cambridge for a year. Colleges don't actually let you stay usually if you intermit. It's quite a big deal. It's not something to be done lightly. People put a lot of thought into intermitting, but I didn't get a choice. In undergrad, if you fail the medical course, then you just keep resitting the exam until you pass. You continue your studies, you don't intermit. So I had a friend who failed the same exam several times, but she was able to continue with her studies and do her 3rd year course alongside resitting her 2nd year exams. I kind of assumed it would be the same at the clinical school, but I think because you're so much closer to graduating with a medical degree, they take the resits a lot more seriously. So if you fail, they really want you to make sure that you're going to pass the next one, and it's kind of not good to just keep letting you resit and potentially fail the next year if you are on placement and resitting the previous year and trying to revise for the current exams. I didn't know that when I failed, so obviously I was very stressed, and I thought I got to go home and all my friends are here and this was not what I was expecting and my life's going to completely change. But I spoke to my tutor, I spoke to my director of studies, and they knew that I had quite a difficult home situation. And my dad was living out of home with his dad as a full-time carer. My older brother has Down syndrome, so my mum was looking after him. So going home and revising for another resit, having my routines changed, everything would have been quite difficult for me. The college actually were really nice, and they took a look at my exam history and they said, we know this is abnormal for you and we want to offer you a chance to stay in Cambridge, stay a member of the college. So if you continue paying rent, you can continue basically as you were. Hence why I am still here in my room. And I have to say I am so beyond grateful because of the things that then happened over November, December, January. So I'll get onto that now. In, I think, early November, I was grabbing a cup of tea, I think, with my boyfriend, and we were just sat in the cafe somewhere, I think in like Newnham College Cafe, and I got this. Actually, in the morning, my mum had called me. My mum had called me at about 10:30 and I just declined. I think I missed it. I had it on silent or something, so I missed it. And she didn't leave a message. She didn't send me a WhatsApp message. So I was like, oh, she must have just wanted to chat because it obviously isn't urgent. Otherwise, she would have called me again or like messaged me. Anyway, she called me again that afternoon when I was with my boyfriend in the cafe. And this time I picked up because I thought it was odd she called me twice. And she was like, can you come home now? Your dad's in hospital. I was like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll go home then. So I got in my car, drove home. It's a couple of hours drive around the M25. Actually, I drove to the hospital and my dad had basically, it's called a transient ischemic attack. It's like a mini stroke is kind of layman's term. So he had a mini stroke. So it was quite a shock for me to see my dad like that. I'm a medical student, so I'm familiar with what it looks like to have a TIA. I've seen other people with TIAs and strokes in hospital, but never someone in my own family. And my dad at the time was 58. He had no really pre-existing medical conditions, pretty fit and healthy weight, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, all the usual things. So that was a bit of a shock. He recovered, he got better. He was on medication, he went home. I came back to Cambridge, continued just sort of with my intermission, not really doing much, taking some time off from studying, doing a lot of rowing, getting involved in college, but not really working. And then in December, my dad went home for the day to look after my brother. I think my mum was out, and his dad, who he usually looks after, was on his own at home and had a fall. And this fall was quite bad. He broke his back, fractured his spine, went into hospital. And whilst he was there, he was quite unwell. He was throwing up a lot, but he eventually was discharged a couple of days later, but was still unwell at home. So he went back into hospital. And then from basically the end of November until mid-January, I guess, he stayed in that hospital. Whilst he was there, they did some scans. They found he had several different types of cancer. He had some work done in October around the time of my resit for skin cancer, like removal. And when they were doing that, they scanned his lymph nodes. They found T-cell non-Hodgkin's lymphoma for all my med student friends out there. Then when they kept him in after his fall, they did another CT scan and found that he had metastatic bowel cancer that had spread to his stomach. So that was causing quite a lot of problems. So he stayed in hospital for a while. And then around Christmas time, we went to go visit my granddad in his hospital, and they said, we're going to put him on palliative care. That was all fine. This was like 2 days before Christmas. And then they said the next day, we know he's on palliative care now, but he's pretty stable. Can we send him home? And my dad was like, I don't think I can cope with this. I've just had some TIAs. I'm his full-time carer. It's a bit too much. So my dad, at this point, had moved back into our family home. So my mum and me could like look after him recovering from his TIAs. So this is like a month and a bit after my dad's initial TIA. He'd just come off all of his medication. And then that night, Christmas Eve, my dad had another like TIA attack. So we took him to hospital on Christmas Eve, and they were like, actually, we're not sure these are TIAs. You seem to be having too many of them. Maybe they're hemiplegic migraines, which can be brought on by stress. Obviously, my dad was very stressed, so it kind of made sense. Could be those. So they said, we'll refer you to the stroke clinic on Friday after Christmas. We'll see you there. Maybe do another MRI, but for now, just treat it like it's migraines. We'll see you on Friday, basically. Keep an eye on it. It could still be that you have a stroke independently of having hemiplegic migraines. So if you have this unilateral weakness, funny vision, drooping face, like do come into hospital. So anyway, my dad continued to have these like funny spells for the next few days. Went to go visit my granddad in hospital. He had another funny spell. And when he had these spells, he basically couldn't see anything on the right side of his face, like anything on his right side of his visual field. His right side went completely weak and numb, tingly. He can't speak properly. It was quite weird to watch, but he would have them for like a few seconds and then be fine. So we monitored those, kept visiting my granddad in hospital. And then I went away with a friend to the Peak District for a few days. On like the third day we were there, I think we were running like a half marathon in the Peak District, and we were up some mountain, literally in the middle of nowhere. My mum called me and I picked up, and she was like, can you come home? Your dad's had a stroke. My friend drove me home from the Peak District that day. This was just after Christmas. So I got home, went to go visit my dad in hospital, and yeah, he'd had a full-on stroke. They were TIAs beforehand, not migraines. So unfortunately, my dad was now also in hospital, but in our local hospital, not in the same hospital as my granddad. So the two of them couldn't see each other for a few weeks whilst my dad was ill. That was pretty stressful. And my poor granddad was getting definitely like deteriorating, classic kind of cancer progression, not eating anything, kind of losing a lot of weight. Yeah, it was quite tough for me and my mum. And also my dad couldn't drive in this time, obviously. So my mum was driving us to go visit my granddad. Visiting my granddad on behalf of my dad, who couldn't see him. It was really rough, and this was all around Christmas. I was getting no work done, obviously, in this time, no revision, and my brother didn't really understand what was going on, bless him. So it was tough. So that was the beginning of January. I then come back to Cambridge. My dad recovers at home. He's not going to be going back to work now, so it was pretty life-changing for him. And yeah, he's now 59, but it was a big deal, this stroke. So going on from that, he now can't see anything he has very limited vision out of his right eye. His peripheral vision on the right side is very damaged. He can walk. It didn't affect his motor cortex or anything that much, although he's a little bit more unsteady on his feet, a bit slower at walking than he used to be. And he won't be driving again, and he can't work, and it affected his ability to read. So it has changed his life quite considerably, and for my family. My mum is now caring for her husband, for her son, for a dog and a cat, because we adopted my granddad's cat as well. Meanwhile, my granddad was still in hospital, so that's ticking over. We then actually end up bringing my granddad home because he didn't want to go to a nursing home. That was pretty stressful because my granddad was in his house with my dad wasn't there now. So we are having carers going in, but only a few times a day. So it was testing. And I think my granddad then had another fall while he was back at home, and at this point he was just so weak. He then admitted, I think I need to go into hospice. So we get my granddad into a hospice. He's there for about 10 days, and then I get the call the day after my boyfriend's birthday from my dad, and he's like, yeah, granddad passed away last night. So I rush home, there for a couple of days, and then I come back to Cambridge. So by this point it's mid-February or early February. And then since then, things have actually calmed down a lot. It's been really tough for my family, and it felt like everything kind of went wrong at once this year. I have some very resilient parents. They both lost a parent each by the time they were my age. So it's like, as a family, we're quite a strong unit. My parents don't have any siblings. My only sibling is my older brother. So we're quite tight and we're strong. So we've done well. I'm now focusing on my resit, and I am so grateful that the college have been so supportive and let me stay. I'm still rowing. I'm coxing. I'm way too short to row, but I'm coxing for my boat club. I'm still on the MCR committee running super hauls and formals and garden parties. I'm obviously back on YouTube, which is so nice. And I've been running around the Cambridge half marathon in early March. Did a 16k or a 10-mile run in January. I've had a great time, actually. I've had a lot that's gone well for me this year, and I've had great support from my friends and my boyfriend, so I'm very lucky. I'm actually in a really good position. So the main thing now is to get through this resit and believe in myself, which is probably the hardest part. I definitely had a massive knock to my confidence when I failed the resit, even though I was so close to passing, just because firstly, I'd never failed anything in my life before. I knew I was going to fail the exam in June. I just went into that with basically no idea how to approach the revision. So I was like, right, pass the practical exam, pass the OSCEs, and if I fail a written exam, that's fine. I'll nail it in October, and obviously that didn't happen. So then I just had this thing of like, well, I guess I can't do it, and I'm incapable. Very grateful for the support I've had, for the college helping me, for my tutor, for the boatmen at the boat club, my boat club captains, everyone that's helped me through this. Yeah, I'm still here smiling. My skin is a lot better. If you saw my last video, I was so stressed and my skin was really bad, and it only got worse. I actually had to go on antibiotics in January for it because it was just so awful. By the time it got to Christmas, I'd gotten more and more stressed. So things are mostly on the up. So I think my next couple of videos, I'm going to be talking about rowing a lot because that's the only thing I've basically been doing this year. So maybe something about rowing. I'm actually wearing an UGGs competition shirt now, not because I'm a rower that can erg with massive watts, but because it's a big part of my life. So anyway, that's the update for now. I hope it follows up a lot of questions that may have come out of the last video, and I know I've waffled a bit long, but anyway, that's the important stuff, filling in the gaps of what's happened since October. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Just to end this video, I wanted to film in my car because I haven't done that before, and also I'm actually losing my car today. It's going to be scrapped because I got into a small crash a couple of weeks ago that basically killed the car because it's so old, and like the car that crashed into me is a massive Mitsubishi. So my car's damaged, their car is fine. This car is very old. It's 16 years old. We've had it since I was 7 and I'm now 22. It was my dad's car before it was mine, and it's done a lot of miles. I'm going to show you how many it's done because I actually need to find this out in order to hand the car over to the scrapping people today. 170,313 miles. Also, it seems to think it's 33 degrees today. It's definitely not. But yeah, that's the end of the life of my car. It's a lovely car. Kind of its wear and tear. The gear stick here has seen better days. The buttons are all coming off. Yeah, my dad had to like screw this back into the roof. The roof opens. So yeah, it's gonna be sad to see it go. This Fiat has been with us for so long. It's really sad. Like, I have a lot of sentimental value in this car. When my parents spoke to me a few weeks ago about potentially replacing it, I was very much like, no, the car's still got life in it yet, but I actually don't think it does. Well, it doesn't now because it's damaged, but yeah, I didn't really want to say goodbye, so I thought I would make a video in the car and attach it at the end of a YouTube. So anyway, that's all. Genuinely now I will go. So goodbye from me and goodbye from my car.